All right, let's dive into this medical mystery. It's a rare liver cancer called fibrolamellar hepatocellular carcinoma,
FLC.
FLC, yeah. And it mainly affects young people.
Right.
And what's really tough about it is it's often misdiagnosed. And get this, the usual treatments for liver cancer can actually make FLC worse.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes it so tricky to treat.
But, there's some hope. Cutting-edge research coming out of Rockefeller University. They're giving us a new understanding of FLC.
Right.
And that's pointing towards some exciting breakthroughs.
Absolutely.
And we're basing our deep dive today on a really interesting article that they just published. It's called Rare Liver Cancer Decoded. Groundbreaking clinical trial begins.
Yeah, great article.
And we're going to unpack some of the incredible findings from it, like this unique, what they call a fingerprint that sets FLC apart from other liver cancers.
Right.
And this new drug therapy that's showing a lot of promise in clinical trials.
It's really exciting.
And here's the crazy part. The story actually starts with a teenager who played a key role in understanding the genetic cause of this disease back in 2014.
That's right. We'll get to that.
But first, let's break down what makes FLC so unique. What's interesting is that this cancer is caused by a really specific genetic event. It's a fusion of two genes, NJB1 and PRKCA.
Right.
And that fusion is really the root cause of FLC.
And that's what distinguishes it from other liver cancers.
Now, this PRKACA protein, why is it so disruptive in FLC?
Yeah, so this fusion, what it does is it leads to an overproduction of the PRKACA protein. And when you have too much of it, it really throws the cell's internal protein balance off. It's like having a team of construction workers with no foreman to guide them. It's just chaos. And that chaos is what drives the development of FLC.
I see.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how they figured this out, though. They analyzed this huge data set of over 1,400 liver tumors at Rockefeller.
Right.
And this allowed them to find what they're calling a transcriptomic signature.
Yeah.
Now, think of that, like FLC's unique genetic signature. It's what helps doctors accurately diagnose it and avoid, harmful misdiagnosis.
Yeah, that's a really important point. It's like a fingerprint
Right.
that distinguishes FLC from other types of liver cancer.
Exactly.
And this discovery is really a game changer because it helps us not only diagnose FLC more accurately,
Right.
but it also gives us a deeper understanding of how the disease develops and progresses.
Right. And that understanding is key to developing those more effective treatments, right?
Absolutely. And this new understanding of FLC's genetic makeup has led to a very promising clinical trial.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So this trial is testing a combination of two drugs, DT-2216 and irinotecan. And what's really promising is that earlier research has shown that these drugs, when used together, could be quite effective against FLC.
That's really hopeful news. What does this mean for patients who are currently battling FLC?
Well, it means that there's finally a treatment on the horizon that specifically targets the underlying cause of FLC rather than just treating the symptoms.
Wow. That's a huge step forward.
It is. And, the story behind this research is just as remarkable as the science itself.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that a teenager was involved in the initial discovery of FLC's genetic cause.
That's right.
And this research, hits close to home for the lead researcher at Rockefeller, Dr. Sanford Simon.
It does. Dr. Simon's daughter, Alana, was diagnosed with FLC as a teenager back in 2014. And that personal connection really fueled his determination to unravel the mysteries of this disease and find effective treatments.
Wow. So it's not just a scientific endeavor for him, it's personal.
Absolutely.
And what's even more incredible is that Alana was actually part of the research team that made the initial discovery of the gene fusion that causes FLC.
Talk about turning a personal tragedy into a powerful force for change.
It's truly inspiring. But this research has implications far beyond just FLC, right?
Oh, absolutely. The approach they took, understanding the specific molecular mechanisms of the disease, this can be applied to other rare cancers and diseases as well.
You're saying this could be like a blueprint for tackling other rare diseases.
It really could.
That's huge.
It is, and it highlights the importance of what we call precision medicine. It's tailoring treatments to the unique characteristics of each disease rather than using a one-size-fits-all approach. We're not just treating the symptoms, we're getting to the root of the problem.
Exactly. And this research also, it shows the value of large-scale data analysis.
Absolutely.
By analyzing that huge data set of tumors, they were able to unlock the secrets of FLC's unique signature.
Right.
So big data can play a huge role in cracking the code of complex diseases.
It really can. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore some even more surprising findings from this research and discuss how this knowledge is changing the way we think about cancer treatment.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
All right, we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
You know what really struck me about that genetic signature we talked about? It's like FLC isn't just defined by that specific gene fusion itself,
Right.
but like how it changes the protein activity in the cell.
Yeah, you've hit on a crucial point there. It turns out that even when that DNA JB1 PRKCA fusion isn't present, some tumors still show the same transcriptomic signature as FLC.
So even without that exact genetic mix-up,
Right.
if the cell ends up with that same protein imbalance,
Exactly.
it could basically act like FLC.
That's exactly what they found. It really challenges how we've traditionally classified these cancers.
It does.
Yeah.
And it reinforces this idea that we need to focus on the functional changes in the cell, not just the genetic mutations themselves.
Right.
That could be the key to developing those more effective treatments.
Absolutely.
So instead of just looking for a specific gene mutation, we're looking for the pattern of activity that leads to the disease.
Yeah. It's like figuring out a criminal's MO instead of just focusing on their fingerprints. This shift in perspective could be a game changer for other rare diseases, too.
Now, another finding that caught my attention was what they call the hidden time bomb.
Right.
Those FLC cells lurking in the seemingly normal tissue at the edge of the tumor.
Yeah, that was a concerning finding for sure. But it also tells us a lot. It means that it's crucial to thoroughly examine the margins of the tumor during surgery.
Right.
To make sure they get all the FLC cells.
Otherwise, those leftover cells could lead to the cancer coming back.
Exactly. And this is where that deeper understanding of the disease becomes so important.
Right.
It can help us develop better diagnostic tools and surgical techniques to minimize the risk of recurrence.
So it's not just about finding new treatments, but also about refining existing procedures to be more effective.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to the potential of personalized medicine. By understanding the unique characteristics of each patient's tumor, doctors can tailor treatments to their specific needs.
So instead of a one-size-fits-all approach, we're moving towards a more individualized approach to cancer treatment.
Exactly. It's about finding the right treatment for the right patient at the right time. And with the advancements in genomic sequencing and data analysis, personalized medicine is becoming more and more feasible.
That's incredibly exciting. But amidst all this talk of science and technology, let's not forget about the human element.
Yes.
You know, we've talked about the breakthroughs, but at the end of the day, this is about helping real people who are facing this challenging disease.
You're absolutely right. Dr. Simon and his daughter Alana's story is a powerful reminder of the personal impact of this research. It's about giving hope to families who are desperately searching for answers and effective treatments.
And it speaks to the resilience of the human spirit and the drive to overcome even the most daunting challenges.
It truly does. It also shows how important collaboration is between scientists, clinicians, and patients. It's through these partnerships that we can translate groundbreaking discoveries into real-world solutions that improve people's lives.
I couldn't agree more. It's amazing to see how far FLC research has come in such a short time. And with the ongoing clinical trials and the dedication of researchers like Dr. Simon, there's a lot to be optimistic about.
Absolutely. This research isn't just paving the way for new and more effective FLC treatments. It's also serving as a model for tackling other rare diseases. It's a testament to the power of scientific inquiry, human ingenuity, and the pursuit of a healthier future.
Well said. It's clear that the fight against FLC is far from over. But thanks to the research we've discussed today, the future is looking brighter than ever for those affected by this rare disease.
It is indeed. But as we delve deeper into the complexities of FLC, we're faced with a question that could reshape our understanding of cancer.
What's that?
If FLC can be defined by a broader functional change, could there be other seemingly distinct cancers that are actually driven by similar mechanisms?
You mean we could be misclassifying some cancers based on our traditional methods?
Precisely. This research might be just the tip of the iceberg, leading us to rethink how we diagnose and treat a much wider range of diseases.
That's a really thought-provoking question to consider. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into the world of FLC research. It's amazing how much we've learned about cancer just from this one rare disease.
It really shows how impactful, focused research can be. By zeroing in on what makes FLC tick, scientists have opened up new ways of thinking about treatments that could help people with other types of cancer or maybe even other diseases altogether.
It's like finding a key that unlocks a whole bunch of doors.
Exactly.
But, we've talked about all this promising research, but there are still some hurdles to overcome
Right.
in the fight against FLC.
Of course. This research is exciting, but we have to remember that clinical trials take time.
Right.
And there's still a lot we don't know about FLC and how it will respond to different treatments.
So patience and continued research are essential.
Absolutely.
What are some of the specific challenges that researchers are still facing with FLC?
Well, one big challenge is that it's such a rare disease. It's hard to find enough participants for clinical trials, which makes it tougher to get solid data.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces.
Exactly. And because FLC is so different from other liver cancers, existing treatments might not work or could even be harmful.
Right.
That's why developing targeted therapies specifically for FLC is so crucial.
Yeah.
And that requires a deep understanding of its unique molecular mechanisms.
That's why all this research we've been talking about is so important. It's laying the foundation for more precise and effective treatments.
It is.
But I imagine there are also some logistical challenges in getting these new therapies to patients.
Oh, absolutely. Developing new drugs is expensive and time-consuming, and pharmaceutical companies might not be as eager to invest in treatments for rare diseases.
Right, because the patient population is smaller.
Exactly.
So it's not just about scientific breakthroughs. It's also about navigating the complexities of the healthcare system to make sure that these promising treatments reach the people who need them most.
You got it.
Right.
It takes a collaborative effort between researchers, clinicians, pharmaceutical companies, and regulatory agencies to streamline the process and make these therapies accessible.
It's a team effort for sure.
It is.
But even with all these challenges, the progress in FLC research is truly remarkable.
It really is. The discovery of FLC's unique genetic and molecular characteristics, the development of these promising new drug therapies, and the ongoing clinical trials are all pointing toward a brighter future for FLC patients.
And it's not just about FLC. This research is a model for how we can approach other rare diseases.
Exactly.
By focusing on precision medicine, using the power of big data, and fostering collaboration between everyone involved.
You said it perfectly. This deep dive into FLC research has shown us that scientific discovery has the power to transform lives and create a healthier future for everyone.
And on that note of hope, we wrap up our exploration of FLC.
Great discussion.
But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. We've seen how understanding the molecular intricacies of FLC has opened up all these new treatment possibilities. What if we could take this same approach with other diseases, even ones that we don't usually think of as having a genetic basis?
Right.
Could this unlock a whole new era of personalized medicine for a much wider range of conditions? It's something to think about.
It is. The possibilities are endless when we dare to explore the mysteries of human biology and use the power of science to improve lives.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of FLC research. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.